Hello and welcome to Nightbreed Metal Radio for another month. I wanted to do today's video with Daisy, and she's under the table, so that's why we're under the table. So there's 5 awesome musicians that spoke to us this month. Starting with one you might be familiar with, Ollie Pecker Lane from Amorphous. He's got a new solo project out called Octoploid. It's like a 70s melodic death metal thing. It's pretty fun, and we get into it. Here he is. This is Ollie on Nightbreed Metal Radio. Octoploid. It's been described as 70s death metal, and I think that's a pretty good description. Like all those mixes of melodic death and some black metal elements of folk and everything. Did you start Octoploid with that mix of sounds in mind?
Yes, actually, I thought like I could do an album which would represent my musical heritage or whatever, and to include only crawling vocals on top of it. So that was kind of the red line, to have crawling vocals, and I tried to follow that guideline when coming up with the songs, and thinking of like not to add too much, for example, like acoustic guitar parts as verses, because it would require clean vocals. But still, it would have been really hard to put together an album with all my influences without having, with only, kind of metal production or metal sound. So it was necessary to have a kind of 70s influences included as well, and it's kind of based on those generally. So yeah, the previous title description was 70s death metal, but nowadays it's classic death prog. So either of those goes, and you can use both of them.
Yeah, cool. How was the recording process? Like, what was your guide for choosing guitar sounds and that sort of thing for Octoploid?
Well, recording process started with just putting down the basic tracks with drummer. I had one friend of mine, Mikko Pietinen, who is obviously playing on the album as well. I asked him that I'm doing a solo album, would he want to join? And at that stage we didn't have any other musicians in mind. And we just started to put down the drums and bass in his studio, and when we had, say, 4 or 5 songs, I started to seek for a guitar player, and then I found Peter Salonen from YouTube. Actually, he was playing Kingston Wall covers in his channel, and I thought it would be a good idea to have that kind of player, because he wasn't necessarily a death metal guitar player. So it would be kind of a little bit different kind of approach to the music. Not to have like the basic metal guitar sound, or and also some rock and roll solos and stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to have there. So I asked him, and he agreed to come, and he actually recorded his lead guitar parts at home with X amplifier, and just sent us the files which we put to our projects, and there were I think there was line sounds as well, so we could tweak the sound with the plugins a little bit. So that was the story behind the lead guitar parts. But still, he came to Helsinki, and we went to Mikko's studio once again, and recorded the rhythm guitars there, and yeah, that's how the basic tracks was born. And then I just made the basses at my home studio with K-Purple profiler and line sound as well. And yeah, and on top of that, there were 2 keyboard players, Kim Rantala and Kasper Mortensen, both known from Amorphous previously. They both played, say, I'd say 4 songs both, and also there's lots of my keyboards on the album still. So yeah, and then the vocalists. I thought that I would like to have a vocalist from every era of my career, from all the bands which I've been playing in. So it was kind of natural to have both Tommys from Amorphis, for example, and then both vocalists from Barren Earth, and then there is Janitor Muurinen, who's been in Sysma and in Manhai, my previous stoner band or present stoner band, whatever, and also Pete Eskelinen from Rapture can sing a couple songs because I didn't have time to go and record Pasi Koskinen, the previous Amorphis vocalist, to the countryside where he's living. So I had to just pick up Pete, which was good decision because I've been dreaming of doing something with him throughout the years, and now it was finally possible to do that. So that was the story in short with the recordings.
Yeah, cool. And you've written everything, of course, and like you were saying, there's different vocalists on the tracks. How did you decide who was going to sing what? Like, did you already have people in mind while you were writing?
No, I didn't have anyone in the mind at the point, and I didn't even know which kind of vocals would be there because there weren't lyrics and for vocal arrangements. But when the songs were recorded, I started to come up with lyrics and vocals, and then I thought like song by song, like who fit this song, and that's how I chose the vocalists. Probably all of those guys could have fitted to any songs, but this was something I thought would be the best combination, and of course there are some tiny bit of clean vocals, and I did some of them, and Pete Eskelinen did some of them, and I think Mikko Kotamäki did some. So yeah, but the clean vocals are only there for in order to give the songs a little bit flavor. That's all. So.
And the album's been mastered by David Castillo. What kind of notes did you give him going in, like about what sort of sound you're after?
For whom?
For David Castillo.
Okay, David Castillo, the master.
Yeah.
That was just like I had 3 mastering engineers in mind, and I sent one song to each of like all those people, and then we just figured out that okay, David's demo master is the best of all. So and I just didn't give him any guidelines after that. I just sent him all the material that okay, do these in the same manner as you did the first one, and that's basically.
Yeah, cool. Visually, Octoploid's got that real kind of classic 70s look down as well, like the music video for Human and Moral and the cover images for the singles and the album itself. Who did all that cool artwork? That's come out really well, yeah.
Well, the guy called Orion Landau from Portland, Oregon. He's been doing IOB covers, for example, and that's where I actually spotted him at the first place because I thought like, okay, those IOB covers are really cool. I want to work with that guy in the future. This was already back in 4 years ago or something. But then when I sent him the ideas, he just came immediately with this cover art and layout, and it was really easy processing there immediately. He just knew what to do, and even without hearing a note of the music, it was he didn't even know that it was some sort of death metal. So which is I think it's kind of thing only that he had an open mind when doing the cover, and it represents even more the music when it's a little bit proggy and psychedelic.
Yeah.
Metal cover art.
And then the logo as well. It's definitely got a bit of a yes kind of feel. Is that, do you think is that on purpose? Yeah.
Yes, I know what you mean. I've been thinking of that, and I actually thought of it immediately when I saw it. But yeah, it's kind of a good connection. Even though I'm not the greatest Yes fan, but still I appreciate the band, and I also like that imaginary, which is included in their
Mm.
catalog.
Yeah, yeah, cool. This, like we've been talking about, the songs have a lot of different styles, but they still very cohesive and fit that, I guess, what's the Octoploid sound. Was that ever difficult when composing, trying to make everything kind of work cohesively?
No, the composing was kind of really easy process when I decided to do it just uh, like in a natural manner, not to think about should this sound. I just wanted to do something that flows naturally out of me.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of had thought first that maybe I should do just progressive rock album or something totally out of the box. But I think at the same time I thought like maybe that wouldn't be as honest as it should be when we talk about my first solo album. So I just wanted it to be entirely 100% pure and honest music, which I compose. So therefore, after making that decision, it was really easy to come up with the songs, to pick up the 9 songs which would represent uh, uh, myself the best, and to make the best whole together. So yeah, and then of course I just needed to start arranging the songs so they could actually fit together and flow naturally. So uh, that was probably the hardest work throughout the process, to arrange the songs together.
Yeah, okay. This definitely feels like a whole, I've listened all through it, so it's a great sounds cool. Did you ever think about calling, because it's a solo release, did you ever think about just calling it your name, or has Octoploid always been like the title you had in mind?
Excuse me, could you repeat?
So this Octoploid is a solo thing, yeah? Like your solo album.
Yeah,
Did you ever think about
yeah.
calling it Oli Pekka Lane, or is Octoploid always what you had in mind, the name?
Well, yes, I did. I thought like I should have called it like Opulainen Group or something like that. But still, uh, I understand the record label's point that it's not very commercial idea
Sure.
to say, um, and I totally buy it. But I just wanted to include my name somehow to the project name, so my initials are in the middle of the band title. So that's my way to express that it's my band anyway, and of course I want to underline it everywhere that it's my solo band.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are my songs. So yeah, but I totally get it that it could have chased some people away if it would have came out on my under my name. So I'm happy this way, so why not?
Yeah, it's cool. Um, and obviously being a part of Amorphous for a long time, how does songwriting work with Amorphous? Like, do you have any much input into the songwriting side of things with those guys?
Well, we haven't started the process of like pre-production of the album yet, the next album, which we will record later this year. Well, I probably offer some of my songs to them and to the producer who's uh, choosing the songs after all. And let's see how it goes from there. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
It's not a, it's good thing that we are not trying to agree which songs to use on the album, because naturally there's like 30 songs in all from all members of the band, so it would be impossible to come up with with 10 songs because, of course, everybody would defend their own material and so forth. So it's better that there's an outsider who's uh, uh, um, listening to the songs from different perspective than the band members together.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. And talking Amorphous, you guys have a live album coming out July too. They are Tale from a Thousand Lakes live at Tavastia. Um,
Yeah.
I'm sure you still play some of those songs live, but how was it going back to '94 and playing like that whole album?
Well, it was I don't know. Naturally, we played those songs still during the concerts, and well, it was I don't know. Actually, it's something like 4 years when we recorded that album. So it was, of course, it was exciting, and it was a totally different kind of ball game than the modern Amorphous songs because there wasn't click track, for example, and it was more organic. So it was, in that sense, it was kind of a bit more interesting for myself to play, but still, it felt like they were like written yesterday. So there was no difference from the 90s and from when we played them. So it didn't feel that special in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. And you've also got Barren Earth, of course. The last album, A Complex of Ages, that was 2018. Will we hear more from Barren Earth in the future?
Well, I'm open to it, of course, and let's see how it goes. There are like 6 guys in the band, and we have our own things in life. You know, someone is working and having kids, and some is with creator, for example, and so forth. So I don't know. I think the stars should be aligned in the right way in order for us to do something together again. But who knows? Maybe there, and also every one of us should be mutually like interested about doing it. So at the point, I think the situation is not like that. But still, who knows what the future brings? You know.
Yeah, fair. And obviously, you're a very busy musician, but are there plans for Octoploid to tour at all?
Hope so. Yeah, because next year we will have a break with Amorphis, and I'm looking for agency in Europe at least to book us some shows. And we will play one show in Helsinki on 2nd of August. That's going to be interesting. So, and let's see where it goes there. We already have an agency in Finland, so I told them to book as many shows as possible for the next year. So probably if there's going to be some festivals and like Finnish tour or whatever, I'm open for doing it. So hopefully there's going to be demand for Octoploid in the markets.
Yeah, yeah. And away from your own stuff for a minute, what have you been listening to lately? What are you checking out?
Good question. Well, I've been listening to all my brothers, like always, and some Nordic folk like Murkur and Kati Ran from Netherlands, and some fresh death metal like As in Hell was great album, and Ashen Tomb I enjoyed as well. Convocation is one like great new band from Finland. I don't know if you've heard it. And James Ford from Germany is pretty good stuff. And then just the basic stuff, good old favorites from the 70s, King Crimson and Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. So and of course Kiss and yeah. You know, I'm listening to that much music nowadays. I'm basically listening to audiobooks or something, the radio or whatever. So, but every now and then, if I find an interesting new artist, I'll check it out.
Yeah, cool. And so from the album Beyond the Eons, there's 2 singles so far. Are there plans to release another track before the album comes out? I really like that bass line at the end of A Dusk of Vex. I reckon that would be a good one, but I don't know.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are planning to release the Hollow Flame song next Friday. Actually,
Oh, cool.
there's gonna be a new video out of it, and it's gonna be on the digital streaming platforms as well. So that's the plan for the next single, and well, I can reveal that there's gonna be even more releases before that. So and after the album comes out, there's gonna be probably another single. So yeah, there's gonna be some tasters before the album release.
Excellent, mate. And this won't post until after Friday. What can you tell us about the video, the new one?
It's directed by Peter Voutilainen, the same guy who did Human Moral video. We actually did those videos in the same session.
Yeah, cool.
Just played those on the row, and he edited a little bit more spacey, psychedelic video of the Hollow Flame. And yeah, I don't know what can I say. It has stars and planets and asteroids and stuff like that. So you have to figure out.
Yassi, you might know Yassi from JJ's One Girl Band. It's a really great YouTube channel where she plays these awesome metal songs. She really rips on the guitar. But she is in a band called All For Metal. We talk about the channel and the band and lots of stuff. Here she is. This is Yassi.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, cool. So many people know you as, the YouTube sensation, JJ's One Girl Band, which is very awesome. But you've also been in an excellent band since 2022. What prompted the start of All For Metal?
How it started?
Yeah.
Yes, basically, All For Metal is a small. It was a studio project from Tetzel and Antonio, where they have released their first songs in 2022, where I wasn't part of the band yet. And since they had really good feedback for the singles that have been released, they decided to put up a band together that are into exactly that. This 80s kind of true metal, Viking-ish, He-Man, Conan the Barbarian theme. And so I was actually asked at Metal Hammer Paradise by now a friend called Isis to maybe check out All For Metal if it was something that would suit me. And so I did. And 2 months later, I was in the rehearsal room with the guys and it clicked. And ever since we have a great time together, having played like 2 tours already with Windrose last year and with Lordi this year. So yeah, that is sometimes a YouTube channel is helpful to get like a foot in the business. And yeah, it was nice, simple kind of journey how I got there. And
Cool.
huge shout out to Jen Majura, who was like pointing finger that this project is coming up.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. So yeah, you're obviously an incredibly skilled guitarist. Had you had much experience playing live before, like in front of a crowd before All For Metal? Had you played in other bands or anything?
Yes, I have been playing in many bands before, but they were all like more or less hobby bands. We had a few gigs with the first projects I played in. I played in an indie band called Lot that was 2013-ish. Then I moved on to Frankfurt and I played in different bands there. We all just tried out, but we never really had some shows. And then I played with some friends of mine called Notstrom, where I was filling in for their friend some couple of times, but these were all like smaller crowds. And back in 2017, I have joined my previous band Oversense, where I was part of till March 2023, last year. And there we played everything from smaller club shows to the biggest one being Metal Hammer Paradise at
Mm,
the Riff Arm, which was the smallest stage, but still Metal Hammer Paradise. And so I have had already some experience in front of crowds
mm.
and like a routine from my live streams.
Yeah, that's cool. So all for metal visually, you'll have a very specific look, like the makeup and costume and everything. Um, what was the first kind of conversation when you were joining? Did you sort of have something in mind? Like, how did that sort of come about for you, you know?
Meaning in which direction?
So obviously, you know, got your thing on your face and the kind of the look and
Ah.
everything. Did you have input into that? Like, how did that happen, you know?
Yes, basically the outfit you see is my personal outfit.
Mm,
So I'm a huge 80s fan. Also additional leather and studs kind of things that are hanging here.
mm.
So this was not even a costume I was thrown at. That was the stuff I brought
Yeah,
into the
cool.
band.
Mm,
And so we were just choosing what would suit me as in the whole concept. And so we decided to go for that very much simple black top, but the more spiky pants. And then I should choose something chainy and with so that we can have the chainmail kind of stuff because the
yeah, cool.
chainmail is the element that is linking us all
Mm,
literally.
yeah,
Um, so then I was searching with Isis. She was the costume designer involved, to be honest. And I suggested her, well, she wanted or suggested like a bra first over the top. And I told her, well, I play guitar, and if I headbang, it would likely maybe even hit the strings. And so I went with this cross chain and the shoulder plates. Um, for the makeup itself, basically just that stripe was a given thing because when I was not part of the band before, there was another girl called Johanna, and she had that paint already, and
mm,
they thought it suited that warrior style, so we kept it. But the other makeup I have with the red and gold is also something I always wear by myself,
mm.
and the sprinkles were like an input of the Saltatio Mortis video team that were like, well, if you're all warriors and such, you get a little bit more dirty.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
that's cool.
added kind of different parts. So the base was from each individual, but the more details were just enhancing the character you brought on the plate.
Yeah, cool. And so with the album Gods of Metal, coming out August 23rd, how does the songwriting work? Because obviously, you know, you got some cool Widley stuff going on, and like there's different
Mm.
things happening. What's the process, I guess, for putting a song together?
The process is that we are currently still working closely together with a production um, from Elephant Music. So
Hmm,
where Antonio and Tetzel get mainly the ideas to our producer. And so there are kind of different elements that are added, each to their own.
hmm,
For the next album, we will be involved much more in the songwriting process.
yeah,
So since Ursula and me, we also have like a huge history of playing guitar. We are also now contributing with riffs and such. But right now, as Alpha Metal started as a studio project, we still have that going on until now we have forged as a band. We are now certain it also is something we all identify with, and so we get involved in the writing process.
hmm,
And personally, I can just tell from my experience, if you have like a huge set of ideas, you might have a theme of a song and you try to get that into riffs, for example, or you have a riff in your mind and you try to combine it with different parts. And after all of this is set, you do the vocals basically
hmm.
and try to see what is suiting. And then the lyrics are not even made because you just see if the melody works and then you focus on the words. This is usually how a songwriting process is starting, like merging different ideas together.
Yeah, cool. And Laura from Burning Witches features on this one, Valkyries in the Sky. It's a great track. How'd you get together with Laura?
Actually, we have been playing a show together at Rockarts last year.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
since they also are in this heavy metal kind of genre, Antonio just started talking to Laura since we have two male singers, how it would sound like if we just include a female singer, like front singer in a single feature. And so since she also really enjoyed our show and how we were playing and the whole concept, she also was very open to collaborate on the song. And so we got her. It was just basically talking, seeing if interests match, if music taste matches. And then we had the collab going.
Yeah, cool. And there's a cover of Scorpions, you know, Rock You Like a Hurricane you guys did
Yeah.
recently. Great cover. Were there any other songs in mind? Like what was the conversation like, or was it always going to be that Scorpions one, you know?
Actually, we did a voting on Instagram
Oh yeah.
where people could suggest songs and
Hmm.
then they could vote for the song they want to hear being covered. So it was not going to be just that song. So people chose that song.
Hmm.
Maybe there will be future releases. So we will see. So that, yeah, it's not just because it's Scorpions. It was democratically, or whatever that
Yeah.
word is in English.
Yeah,
Vote.
yeah, democratically. Yeah, yeah. That's good. So JJ's One Girl Band channel, it's so good, man. I've been watching heaps of it. It's great. You got a big
Thank you.
variety. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. A big variety of covers on there. What draws you to want to cover a certain song? Like, are there any specific things you're looking for when you pick, I want to do this one, you know?
Recently, it's love. So if I just hear a song and I'm like instantly moved here, like if someone was like putting like I cannot explain it. So for example, if my favorite band, Dark Tranquility,
Hmm.
I have it right here, is pleasing a song, I immediately check it out. And with Unforgivable, it was like, okay, sheesh, what is he doing there? What is he doing there? And then, oh my God, now, now he's getting even faster. What is he doing? This is beautiful. And then I get like hyped. And whenever I feel that I'm hyped by a song, I'm like, yeah, I want to play it. I really want to figure out how he's doing that. And then I play the song and try to figure it out by ear. So, for example, for Unforgivable, I was also streaming my learning process on Twitch. Took me 90 minutes to figure it out by ear. And this is also like a great training for me because if you're driven by being naturally hyped, you just want to get it done from the heart. And this is how I choose songs that I cover. Since I also have a huge, lovely Patreon family who is guaranteeing me to stay alive in this cruel world where you just have to fight for surviving sometimes. Cheers to my patrons. They also get to vote for songs and also can choose songs. Sometimes they align with my taste, but sometimes I branch out and do a favor to the people to play a song I'm not so much into, but they would really like to see me play.
Yeah, that's cool. What was one of the hardest songs for you to like nail, like that you had to practice longer than usual to sort of get right, you know?
That is different, and it's also kind of differing between ages. Because, of course, when I was just playing 5 years, it would
Hmm.
take me 1.5 years to learn Battery by Metallica,
Hmm.
since I was not able to play that fast. I was not able to play that fast for such a long period of time. The rhythm part was never the issue, but the solo. Since I made the mistake that I would just wanted to play metal and System of a Down, all those riff bands, I never paid attention to solos and the technique there. And so my fingers were stupid on that hand. So this hand was the intelligent one, this one was
Hmm.
the stupid one. And so I had to train it after I actually was able to play guitar. So I was erasing all the stuff I did wrong. I'm still at the process of erasing that. And battery took me 1.5 years simply because I was not technically on that level.
Hmm.
Then usually I don't take so long. If I'm tackling a song that is using a technique I can't play, then I just need to invest half of a year.
Yeah,
And
well.
this is, but I cannot tell you since every song has its history of being like a stone I stepped on to develop my technique.
Hmm.
It was now I think for battery it would take me nothing. I could just literally see a Metallica song and play fade straight through it without practicing.
Yeah.
But to get there, that's the thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I read that you're self-taught. Like what made you first pick up guitar in the first place, you know? Was there someone that you're like, I want to do that, you know?
Yes, but more specifically, I was always drawn to the guitars for like there was like an imaginary call. My mother used to play guitar, acoustic guitar. My sister started acoustic guitar, and I always wanted to grab these and play, but I was not allowed to
Mm.
because I'm a child, and this first instrument is expensive, and the other instrument is for my sister, and she would kill me if I touch it. So me wanting to play guitar and not getting a guitar because my sister also quit after 2 weeks, and my mother just also didn't do it professionally, just here and there. And yeah, then I was discovering a band called Sum 41. I'm seeing them live tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
At a video game called Obscure.
Mhm.
I'm also into horror video games, and I played that one with my best friend. And the secret you got was like a bonus content of the music video of Still Waiting. I got hooked immediately by that band. And then I also bought a live DVD, Steak Bombs and Happy Endings. And then I saw Mike, how did I say Mike? The David Bakes.
Oh, yeah.
Why did I say Mike? It's freaking making no sense. I know, no, I know why. Because I wanted to say Bakes and Machine Gun Solo because he was playing the machine gun solo, and it sounded so cool. So I was like, I want to do this. And how the guitars looked of them with the crosses and all the stripes they had on. I was like, give me a freaking guitar. And so that inspired me to play. And yeah, I used to just listen to songs, look at the tab, and try my best.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like like you were saying before, it's good to learn it from you when you can, right? Because those tabs are a little bit questiony sometimes, you know. Yeah.
They are, and I can also highly recommend to rely to your ear because it gives you more natural feeling of songs. And sometimes you don't even need tabs anymore. You can hear the chords if you know the tuning and play along,
Mm.
since you have then knowledge where the sounds are. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I know how it sounds like.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, I think. Yeah. Um, so have you had much feedbacks from bands that you cover? They must have contacted you, right? Some of them, yeah.
Some of them did. I think one of the first ones have been Disturbed, who were commenting on my videos. But the first one that was really inviting me then to get on a show was Equilibrium.
Mm.
That was on Wacken. And I was like luckily in the AAA backstage area kind of thing, Wacken United area. And René was approaching me because Equilibrium just played and was like, "Hey, I saw your video. It's freaking sick. You want to play that song together with us?" And then I was fangirling, jumping up and down because I mean, he literally asked me to play that song with him, and I was what the hell? And
Mhm.
so this happened in 2020, January, where I shared the stage with them. And yeah, right now, because of my covers, I do even casually chat every now and then with my favorite guitarists
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Dark Tranquility and also now Cataclysm, for example.
Mm.
And it's freaking crazy. So I do reach people with the covers, not the big bands like Metallica or yeah, the bigger ones, no, because they are so huge. They have a team, a media team that is checking out the messages. And so there is nothing where I get like any feedback from, but the bands I truly care about with my heart. Um, and this is also something so beautiful and makes you even more happy because, yeah, you get connected to them and to the people that have written the music that you love, and that's really nice. So Johan even has reposted my reel where I learned that song "Unforgivable" on his grid on Instagram, and was like, "Great job, keep it up." And I was like, "This is such a huge freaking honor because he's a beast on the guitar and also kick-ass musician." And this was like one of the biggest compliments I ever received, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. And so yeah, you were mentioning just recently you had you hung out with JF from Cataclysm and everything. Do you think there'll be more of those kind of things in the future on the channel where you hang out with other guitarists and stuff?
But definitely, have you seen the video?
Yeah, yeah, it's great, man. It's good one, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the way how you connect. And I want to do this much more. If the people are up to it, of course. There's also a video coming up with Niklas Engelin pretty soon from Halo
Cool.
Effect.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if anyone is up to do this, I'm always open to share riffs and to play songs together. And this format is so natural, and I feel very good and comfortable just chatting about guitar stuff. So it's definitely a format I want to do in the future. But of course, also the bands and the people involved have to enjoy it, and so that it's not like staged or faked, like, oh my God, in the interview. But I was very lucky that these people, as they do music from the heart, it was very not much naturally to connect.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. I've seen you play in front of a nice collection of Ibanez guitars. Pretty enviable. What's your favorite go-to setup? Like what's like, you know, amps, pedals, guitar? What's like the first one that you would pick up, do you think?
My most favorite guitar is my Ibanez. I said Tequila Sunrise Gradation, which was actually first a joke, as I'm endorsed by Ibanez. I can just test out guitars and send them back if they don't suit me, or if I just want to have something for a video and not buying it, but using it, do a bit of promo and get it back. So most of the guitars you see in my videos, they aren't mine.
Right.
But it had the color of my hair. So I was just making it out of a joke. And then I had this instrument in my hands. I was like, this can't be possible because it was perfect. That fretboard was so smooth. That guitar is so beautiful. And yeah, that's my favorite one. And currently, a friend of mine and me, we are exchanging the pickups to EMGs because I want to have more steam on it.
Yeah.
And then I get to my Whammy DT pedal just for drop tuning, pitch shifting, so that I don't have to have like 10,000 different guitars for each tuning. And then I use, when I have my solid state amp, my Engel, Victor Small Scale Limited there.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah.
And if I play on tour, since that thing has a lot of space involved, and it's freaking heavy, and I'm not strong enough to carry it. Yeah, and also the thing is, if tube breaks, you're screwed
Yeah.
because spare parts, of course, you can carry them with you, but you need to exchange it. And if it's burning down during a show, I don't have a guitar tech. I just can't get to the amp and do magic. And so I have a Quad Cortex by Neural DSP with my own sound that I crafted, and that's it. I have a noise gate, analog one. I had an estimator by ISP, which broke, but now got fixed by our technician Andy.
Cool.
And MXR noise clamp. So I have two setups because I don't want to just carry all my stuff back and forth. And my first setup is with Alpha Metal and all the gear, so that I know, okay, I don't have to think about my gear anymore, so that I don't forget anything, because I can be clumsy at times.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. So the new album's out August, the Orphan Metal album.
Yes.
Are there any more singles or videos coming before then?
Maybe there might
Maybe,
be something cool coming that you don't expect. Something artsy will be revealed very soon. And also we're having had that crowdfunding campaign for our fans, where we promised a music video for the Year of the Dragon.
Oh yeah.
And this is freaking epic. We will be shooting the music video very soon. And we have been gathering ideas, costumes, for a long time to make it happen. And it's going to be very much amazing. So you get a video for this one too. And maybe there might be a third one still coming.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, awesome, man. And I'm guessing you got a bunch of shows lined up, yeah, with Orphan Metal on the back of this one?
Yes. So we have like a small release party month in August. We have the 2 release parties with our Alpha Metal Cruise in cooperation with Abicht at Hamburg. And then we have still some festivals left. Baltic Open Air, Leyendas, the Rock Castle, and Rock the Lakes in August. Then we have, of course, in October, Monster Festival and Full Metal Holiday. We're also playing at No Sleep After Christmas, and there might be some shows that still need to be announced. So this year is still pretty much busy. But we don't play up to this date another European tour this year. But of course, things are being cooked for 2025. And there
Yeah.
will be much more bigger surprises even.
Excellent, right? So yeah, you were saying that you're more writing for the next one kind of thing. Like you guys are a bit more sort of getting on that side of things. When do you think we'll hear that stuff? Obviously, the new album hasn't come out yet, but like, do you have anything in mind or time or anything?
I'm happy that you're so much interested in it because I'm also freaking happy about it.
Cool.
I think I'm not allowed to spoil. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that's cool. No stress, man. No stress at all. Awesome. Look, Yassi, thanks heaps for your time, man. It's been awesome to chat. And look, fingers crossed, one day, you guys will make it to Aussie shores, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
our aim is to play for all you lovely people around the globe, and
yeah,
let's just manifest it to see us in real life.
yeah. Hell yeah, man. Awesome. Cool. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a great day. See you.
Cool. Cheers. See ya. Thanks heaps to Yassi for joining us on the show. It was awesome to have her on. And yeah, definitely check out her channel. I recommend it. It's really fun. Up next, we talk to Meek from Austrian symphonic metal band Visions. So Meek from Visions of Atlantis joins us on the show. Visions of Atlantis are an Austrian symphonic metal band. It's all very nautical themed. They're doing a pirate thing at the moment. And here he is. This is Meek from Visions of Atlantis on Nightbreed Metal Radio. Meek, welcome to Nightbreed, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for inviting us. It's always a pleasure.
Cool. Obviously, the new album's coming out shortly, but first I wanted to ask, you've obviously got such a huge, powerful voice. When did you first realize you could sing these big power metal vocals? Like, when did that sort of first occur to you, you know?
Oh, that's a that's a tough question. To be super fair and super honest, when I started singing, I was like, I didn't truly believe that I could do what I'm doing right now. You know, of course it's a process. You constantly grow, you constantly learn. But at the beginning, I was looking at other singers. Like my all-time favorite is Tobias Sammet. But there is Hansi Kursch from Black Guardian, Tobias Sammet, Tony Kakko, and all this power metal singer. And I was looking so up at them, saying to myself, okay, like they can truly do things that are out of my range and out of my possibilities. Then, with time, training, discovering yourself, things evolved. Back then I was 18, and I was like not really confident on my possibilities. And then things changed, luckily.
Yeah, that's cool. You came together with Visions of Atlantis 2018, yeah? So how did that sort of first happen?
So we were supposed to tour together with my other band, Temperance. We actually, the tour happened in September, October 2018. There was this tour called Symphonic Metal Nights, and Temperance was the opening act for Dragony, which is the band of Siegfried, the previous singer of Visions of Atlantis. And then there was Visions and Serenity. And in that time frame, Siegfried also realized that the duties that Visions of Atlantis would have requested were basically impossible for him to fulfill because of his day job. And he was searching for a replacement. And I was like there. And he was like, hey, why don't you join? And I was like, hey, yes. Hell yeah.
Oh, cool, man. How was that in the early days? Like, obviously, Siegfried's got a big voice too. Were you trying to like just emulate exactly what he was doing or make it your own? Like, how did that kind of work in those early days,
No, I believe that personality is like the number one element that makes a singer special. So the moment in which you try to emulate someone else, I think this is inevitably unsuccessful, because even if you do it better, even if you sing the same thing that the other singer in his way, even if you do it better as a singer, memory and songs will always be imprinted in the people's mind in the way they are recorded, with that kind of sound. So there is no competition. You have to be yourself. I think this is for every musician, even if you are a guitar player, a drummer. The moment in which you have your own personality, you will be memorable. The moment in which you try to follow, those who follow will never lead. You know, that's the saying.
No, that's cool. Yeah. So yeah, the new album, it's out July 5th, Pirates 2 Armada. So Visions of Atlantis has always had the oceanic themes, of course, but this is the first album sequel, right? Is that right?
It's absolutely the first sequel. Yeah. We decided to make it a sequel for a very simple reason. Like, we feel like we were not done saying what we had to say with Pirates. Like, this is something I'm saying often during these interviews in this campaign for Pirates 2. If you would scramble the track list of Pirates 1 and Pirates 2, you would find two complete records, and basically no matter which is the order, no matter which song ends in which record, you will find two fantastic records with the same environment, with the same thematics, with the same ambience, with the same atmospheres. So it truly is a continuation of what we started to do, but with different songs. No song from Pirates 2 will be a clone of any song from Pirates 1, you know. And there are new elements. Like in Armada, we have these big screams, these big pirate choirs, you know, that we never used before. And there are so many songs in which there are new elements that were not presented in Pirates 1. So basically, as I said, if you would scramble the track list, you would find two fantastic records, at least from our perspective. And this is the reason why we decided to call it Pirates 2, because it's not an evolution. It's not there's no step aside from what we did before. It's just a perfect match that goes on, that keeps on the story that we started with Pirates 1.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And the Monsters music video, it's a pretty lush, big production. How did that come about? Like, how much are you guys involved in like the concept and all that kind of thing, you know?
Oh, Clementine writes the scripts for all the videos. Like since the day one in Visions of Atlantis, since day one in which she is into Visions of Atlantis, but it's 10 years for her now. So it's quite some time. She writes the script of all videos. She has a fantastic creative mind. Basically, Clemmy is the mind behind all the universe that we create with Visions of Atlantis, because lyrics come from her and the visual that we present come from her. So whatever is art in terms of visual art comes from Clementine. And of course, she writes the script, of course, in collaboration with directors to understand what is possible, because sometimes you dream big, and of course, we don't have Marvel or Disney budgets, so there is a limit to what is actually truly doable with videos, but everything that you see comes from her ideas. So she's absolutely super involved in this.
Yeah, that's really cool. I watched your live stage show something online and stuff, and I noticed some moments where like you guys kind of come together on stage and there's like almost like cool choreograph kind of stuff going on. Is any of that in mind during the writing process? Is that part of the thing where you can sort of see visually what's going to happen as well, you know?
No, it's not. It doesn't happen during the writing process, but everything that happens on stage with Vision of Atlantis is something that happens spontaneously at a certain point during our shows. Like when we started to play the new songs, Armada, Monsters, and Tonight I'm Alive, which are the songs that we have already been playing live in the US tour, we truly didn't have any idea of how to approach them, in terms of movement. This is the same thing that happened before. But then at that specific show, in that specific city, something happened. And after the show, we were like, hey, that's cool. Let's keep on doing this. This is fun. And this is how we built our stage, the script of what's going to happen on stage right now. I would say the plot, like the idea of what we're doing. Now we will have to refresh it, because it's over 2 years that we've been playing some songs, and some song we'll play forever probably. So we need some fresh air. But like everything is spontaneously happening on stage. It's not plotted before.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. I'm talking live. I'm sure you've played like so many massive shows, but are there any that really sort of stand out as like very memorable for you,
Well, for sure, Wacken, especially for me, Wacken was a childhood dream coming true. Like I've been dreaming of playing that stage since I'm 14, 15, when I was going there as a fan, when I started to go to Wacken. as a fan. This, to me, Wacken is the temple. But there are so many festivals that truly leave a mark. For instance, we played Masters of Rock with the orchestra in 2023, and having a full symphonic orchestra in the back during the pirate cycle, this also was definitely emotional as an experience. In general, I have to say that I love playing festivals. Personally, I really love playing festivals because, of course, you present yourself not only to your audience, but also to people that have no clue. So it's somehow challenging. You have to prove yourself. But when you get them into it, you have, this ocean of people in front of you, and they're all into it. And it's just, there is this interchange of emotions that is just fantastic for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Talking about the orchestra, a Pirate Symphony as well, with the orchestral versions, how was that sort of transcribed? Were there many sort of changes or because they're not just playing note for
the
note,
mix,
right?
No. The mix, of course, was readapted for the orchestral version, of course, because basically when we mix the songs when Jacob Benson mixes the song, and we, of course, overview the process, we want to make it possible to have some elements that stand out, but a lot is, basically drowned in the mix of electric guitars, bass, vocals, drums, and everything. So of course the mix needs some rearrangement for the orchestral version. But these orchestras, we write the basic melodies, the basic lines, and then we have a guy that is called Lukas Knobel from Austria, and he is a video game and cinema orchestra arranger, and he does the final arrangement for everything, and he does such an amazing job that would be truly a pity to keep this secret or unheard, and this is why we decided to release a Pirate Symphony. And I believe that sooner or later we will do the same also with Pirates 2, because it's there is so much that is unheard right now, and as I said, it's a pity.
yeah, no, that's cool. So away from Visions of Atlantis for a minute, what other bands have you been listening to at the moment?
I'm a big fan of Mirath. The band from Tunisia/France. Right now, I was extremely impressed with their previous record called Shehili, and I was looking forward to the new one. And I have to say that there is always controversial comments when a new album comes out lately. Even Nightwish, they released this brand new song, and everyone is like there is big contrast in the comments. People love it or people really hate it. When it comes to Mirath, I truly like the new record. There is a small German band called Elvelen, which is a symphonic metal band that released a gem, in my opinion, of symphonic metal. It's truly a beautiful record. But yeah, honestly, I am one of these guys that when there is a new release, at least once or twice puts it on. So there are so many albums that I've been listening to right now. But the ones that truly stands out for me right now are Mirath and Elvelen. This is like the hype of the moment. I'm really looking forward to the new Nightwish, of course. And yeah, let's see what 2024 leaves us.
yeah. So obviously, you were talking about some of your other music earlier, Temperance, with your vocals and keys. You guys put out an album 2023. What's next for you guys? Obviously, you got stuff going on with Visions of Atlantis as well.
So, of course. Well, with Visions, there is this long run in September. Our big headline tour, the Armada tour, which is going to be a European tour of 33 shows, and I have my fingers crossed to bring it also to the US, hopefully to Australia and Oceania. And I still, honestly, this is crazy to me. In like over 25 years of career, I've never played Japan yet. So I feel like I'm missing out over there. So hopefully with Pirates to Armada, we will make it to, to reach also that part of the world. When it comes to Temperance, we released Hermitage, Daruma Size Part 2, September last year. But there is more to come because we have a live record that is ready with 3 live videos, and we are just waiting for the perfect combination to release it. Hopefully, we will find a nice tour for the next month, so that we can, you know, have the tour set and arrange the release around the tour, so that we can actually promote. It would be weird to release a live album without any tour, without touring around it. You know, it's basically meant to be played live. So
That's cool. Well, talking about coming down this way, do you think Visions will make it down to Oz at all?
Well, the thing is that we had a tour that was planned before COVID. We had a full tour that was planned in 2020. Then this tour got canceled, of course, because of the COVID. Or well, it was postponed to 2021. But then, when in 2021 we realized that things were not going to move for a while, it just got canceled. And after that, we never really had a combination of time frame to rearrange it. So there was an option, and I hope that at a certain point, our management and our booking agent will, you know, just find a way to rearrange everything that was already planned in 2020. Because, you know, we read the comments on Facebook, we read the comments on YouTube. We are one of these bands that follow what's going on the socials, and it pops up so often. Please come to Sydney. Please come to, you know, New Zealand. Please come over to Oceania. So, as I said, it would be a pity not to have a proper world tour around Pirates 2. But we will work on it. You know, last year we made it to go back to South America after COVID, and this is also a first step after the pandemic. So we had North America, Europe, and South America. I believe that this is the time for us to also come over on the other side of the earth and reach both Australia and consequently Japan.
Yeah, nice one. That's cool. Awesome. Well, look, Meg, thanks heaps for your time, and I'm sure you've got a bunch of shows coming up, like, you know, off the back of this album, and yeah, it looks like it'll be a blast, man. Thanks heaps for your time.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Much appreciated.
Cheers.
See you soon.
Yeah, man. Richie, a guy you might know from Aussie band Dreadnought, but also The Eternal. The Eternal started as an Aussie band, and now they're international because they've been joined by Jan from Amorphous and Nicholas, who was also playing in Amorphous until recently. They are part of The Eternal now, so we get into that. Here he is. This is Richie from The Eternal on Nightbreed Metal Radio. So you guys started The Eternal 2003, yeah? Like, Dreadnought was still pretty active back then, right? Like, was this... Yeah.
So you want the backstory, yeah?
Oh, yeah, if you feel like it.
Yeah. Right. So Mark started The Eternal in 2003. Okay. So I've been in Dreadnought since like 92.
Yeah.
I joined The Eternal in like late 2016, 2017.
Okay,
and then we did an album. The first album I was involved with was Waiting for the Endless Door. So that came out sort of 2018-ish, I think. And then we started working on this one. So yeah, I'm like 7-year veteran now.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Awesome. So there's been another lineup change since the last album, then, which has made you guys international. Yeah. So Jan from Amorphous joined 2020, and Nicholas, who was, you know, used to be in Amorphous, joined 21. How did those two guys get involved?
It's sort of a long story. We had the sort of interim lineup that we toured Endless Dawn with through sort of Eastern and Northern Europe. And we were playing, we had our second last show was in Helsinki. And so we were sort of sitting at the pub before the show, and Mark spent a bit of time in Finland. And Jan messaged and said, I'm coming down the pub. So Jan comes down the pub, and Nicholas is already at the pub, because I think he's always at the pub there anyway. And we just sort of sat there and started talking. Didn't really have any idea that what would be as it is now, but we sort of sat around a table for a while. It got on pretty well. So and actually we took a photo. We got a photo of the four of us like a year and a half before the actual band was a band, sort of thing. So I was like, well, that's sort of weird. Just like sort of preempted the formation of this thing, and then originally we were going to get Yarn just to sort of play session drums because we lost our drummer. So yeah, so like that's how he started sort of the whole process, and he just got so into it that he ended up being a part of the band, sort of thing. So like Yarn's like a multi sort of faceted musician. He's not just a drummer, he's quite a skilled composer, and he added a lot of depth to sort of what we had, and had arrangement ideas, and we started mixing it up and chopping bits out and adding bits in and so forth. Yeah. And like Nick was just sort of like, Nick's just handily there.
Yeah.
Nick's like, I'll play bass on your record. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a interesting experience, really. Like, yeah, I suppose it is sort of an international band, so to speak. So I don't know how many Finnish Australian doom bands there are, but I reckon you could count them on one finger. So.
That's it. So how does writing work? Like, obviously, there must be some file sharing going on and stuff, but does the songs start like in the same place every time, or is it different people bringing things? How's it all work?
Yeah, look, I think we're probably keeping WeTransfer alive at the moment, but yeah, it's sort of like everyone, like on the last record, most of it was sort of in place, and so like Yarn added a lot arrangement wise, especially percussively. There's some pretty detailed sort of percussive orchestration on this record, but most of those songs were written at the time. We did have one as a sort of group at the end, because we thought, oh well, we needed sort of a mid-paced sort of rock song, so we sort of pieced together that first single, Death Like Silence, over the course of a couple of weeks. But most of that stuff was already written. We've actually written the next record for the most part now too, and that's been a completely different process. So like Nick's had some songs that he's had sort of formative structures for and rough arrangement ideas for, and Yarn's got some, and obviously we've got some as well. So we've just sort of thrown them all into the pot and sent Logic sessions back and forth over 6 months or so, and we've got at least the bones of another record. So, yeah.
That's cool. So what about lyrics? Like, is that all Mark, or do you guys discuss like themes and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, no, that's all Mark's deep and dark psyche. Yeah. I suppose there's always sort of an underpinning theme or like emotional context to an eternal lyric content, and that's sort of continued in this record. It's sort of the darker side of life, I suppose you could call it. So,
yeah. The album cover, all those triangles, like, it looks cool, but like, does it have any other kind of relevance or anything?
It's an excellent question, man. Yeah, well, like originally we went with the Travis Scott design that ended up being modified. So, like Mark's a graphic designer as well in a previous life or a previous incantation. So, like he applied his deft art skills to that, and we've sort of come up with something that looks like relatively indicative of what the music sounds like, I think.
Yeah, like for sure.
Like it's not too flamboyant, but it's like structured and regimented in some form, so yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
And going into writing for this album, like you were saying, with the other guys involved, did you have like a specific sound in mind or something you were hoping to kind of have with the new members? Like, could you kind of predict where it was going to end up, you know?
No.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
well, no, I don't think we can predict where it really would have, how, like, I don't think either Mark or I thought it was going to end up quite the way it was. Like, we've had drummers in the past that, you know, like, can form a pretty solid sort of back end to the music, but Yarn's a little bit more sort of, I don't know what the word is, like flamboyant in his approach. Yeah, so it sort of adds a different sort of rhythmic, counter-rhythmic sort of thing that is like a little bit unusual. And well, I think a lot of Australian bands tend to, like, the drumming is not so thought out. But like obviously Yarn's been playing drums for many, many, many years. He's done a lot of recording and he understands how music fits together probably better than most musicians I know do. So like that's sort of reflected in what he's brought to the album. And Nick has a certain flair for, you know, like tasty bass parts. That's what he's sort of done. Yeah. Yeah. And what, like Mark and I just doing our thing. So
Yeah, that's great.
I play guitar and he writes great songs and sings really nicely and writes cool riffs too. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So the Death Like Silence was the first single, yeah? What made you guys choose that track to like introduce the new sound, you know?
Look, it's just I think it's like it's not too far from some of the material, the early material, like sort of like the early to mid range Eternal stuff. That's sort of a straighter sort of rock song. It's got a good melodic context, and I think it sits well amongst, like it sits well in that sort of loose genre of like dark rock without being too heavy, sort of thing. So it's probably a decent exposure to like what the band has to offer without sort of going to the extreme sort of thing. Like we have the extremes on the record, of course, but you know, we don't need to, like, we didn't think it would really serve anyone's best purpose to hit them with a whole bunch of guttural growl, you know. There's a better way of introducing a band or introducing an album than doing it that way, you know. Like, because we don't really do that as a primary concern. So yeah.
That's cool.
Not that it's not cool, of course, but you know.
So the video's got this, you know, it's really blue and really dusty looking and everything. Did you guys have much input into how that all kind of came about, or was that sort of red tape pictures going on?
Yeah, that's all Clint. That's all red tape pictures. So, like, we didn't really give him a brief. He's like, just shoot a whole bunch of footage on iPhone and I'll sort it out for you. And that's what he came up with. So, yeah, kudos to him. Yeah. He's a pretty talented dude. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. And I've got to ask, Death Like Silence, are you guys like Sodom fans or Mayhem fans, maybe? Like,
maybe not in the same context, but
yeah.
Like full appreciation of what is there.
Yeah.
But maybe like not in so much. I don't think there's any direct correlation between the way that song sounds and the way that Sodom sounds. But
so while we're talking other bands, what are you listening to lately? What kind of stuff?
I took a bit of a dive into the old Devon stuff over the weekend, so a bit of Terrier and that sort of thing. So I like any sort of music. I don't listen to heaps of metal. Like I can fully appreciate what it is, but and I do listen to it, but I don't sort of just consider myself a metalhead. I like a lot of instrumental. Like I play guitar, so I like a lot of instrumental guitar music and that sort of thing. And I can stomach James LaBrie enough to listen to a little bit of Dream Theater. You know, so but like anything with musicianship sort of floats my boat.
Yeah,
cool. I like to analyze music and understand what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, and Mark like listens to a pretty broad scope of things. I do notice Paradise Lost and Host and things like that on his playlist a fair bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Dreadnought. I interviewed you guys way back in like 2001, I think, when you guys came over to Perth around the One Piece Missing EP time. Yeah.
So I'll just dial my brain back a bit.
Yeah. That was a long while ago. It's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, obviously, you know, you guys have been going since '92. How's it going at the moment? Like, where are you guys at?
Yeah, so I've just finished tracking the guitars, or my parts for a new LP that we're going to mix with Mark, playing bass actually as well, over the next couple of months. So you can probably expect to see that by the end of the year. I won't say it's classic Dreadnought because I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's a bit thrashy. It's actually a lot thrashy, a bit rocky, a bit sort of avant-garde. Lots of noodly guitars and stuff like, you know, just what you normally get out of a Dreadnought record. That's
cool. Yeah.
It's like a bit heavier than the last couple, though.
Oh, yeah, cool.
We've got some elements of death metal back in there, and so forth, covering a song off the first record, and
that's cool. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
You and Mark also have another band, yeah, the Nefarium.
Nefo,
Yeah. How did that start? Like,
I think we've just bored over lockdown. It's like, what do you want to do? Like, we just done Endless Dawn, and we're sort of sitting there going, scratching our heads, going, well, fuck, why don't we write a death metal album? And we'll just focus around the period from like 1989 through to about 93 and try to do something like that. And so Nefo was born. And it sort of sounds like, you know, old school death metal a little bit. Yeah. So that's how that happened. There was no real like, we'll release this record and take on the world. There was no
do you think we'll hear any more of that project?
Look, I don't know. Like, I did meet on the way out the door the other night from Mark's place. I'm like, something about death metal. He goes, yeah, we should do another Nefo record.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good fun. Like, not too serious, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So the Eternal new album's out in 4 days. What's next? Is there any chance you guys will be able to play a show or anything? Like, I know it's difficult, honestly, but
that'd be it's obviously a slight sort of logistical issue, but that's definitely the plan. Is to get over there. I think Amorphous are recording another record at the end of the year. So Jan, I think, will be done with his drum parts around Christmas. And they won't be doing anything until festival season starts then again. So we should be able to get a quick tour in, at least through Scandinavia and Germany and so forth. So that's the plan.
Yeah. No, good to hear, man.
Shit, I can do that. Be good to actually sit down and play with those dudes rather than because we've never sort of sat in the same room and played music. It's all been stems via the internet. So it'll be an interesting experience. Hope it works.
No, I'm sure it will, man. That's good. Good stuff. Cool. And you were saying that you've already written like the next album pretty much. Yeah. How far away do you reckon that would, what's the sort of timeline?
Look, by the time we get into tracking and editing and mixing and so forth, like this time next year,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, would expect. It'd be good to have an album a year. Like, that's the dream, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, for
Rather than that, like, don't do the Dreadnought thing and have an album every 8 years.
All right.
Cool, man.
Yeah, Richie, thanks for your time, man.
You're welcome, mate. That's all good.
Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully, the Eternal will hit the stage. I'm looking forward to hearing what comes next. Anyway, man.
Yeah, dude. Excellent. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Cool. Have a good one.
Oh, thanks, mate. Cheers.
Yeah.
Last up, Sebastian Leverman, Sieb, who you might know from German power metal band Orden, Ogan. We talk about their new album, but also we get into Angus McSix as well. Here he is. This is Sieb.
Hey, man.
Good morning. Oh, no, good evening in your case.
It is, yeah. What time is it for you over there?
It's 9:26 in the morning.
All right. Well, thanks for getting up for a chat, mate. Cheers.
No, it was a pretty busy time on my side. Anyway, between all of these interviews, shows, blah blah blah, and everything that is going on, we also moved houses, and this is. You always think, we'll do that like on Friday and Saturday, but then in the end you're busy for 2 weeks or something, doing shit and carrying stuff from A to B. Yeah,
Jason. And also you got the new album coming out very, very soon. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yes,
we've had a few music videos though, which is cool. So like My Own Worst Enemy ends with the whole To Be Continued thing, and then we've had a series of great gothic horror kind of videos. What kind of input do you guys have into like the music videos and the narrative and all that kind of stuff?
So yeah, basically we're telling one ongoing story since 2008 when our debut record Vale was released. It's about a guy called Alistair Vale, and he's an aristocrat, and he's ruling an empire with a circle of other aristocrats. And there's a lot of really bad stuff going on, like corruption and killings and stuff. And so he decides, for the greater good, it must be the best solution to destroy the circle, so that something like democracy can have a chance. And so he does that. But unfortunately, the whole continent falls to chaos and anarchy. And what is even worse is he gets cursed by one of the other guys. And the curse basically says he has to keep walking forevermore. He cannot stay in one place for a very long time. So although that is unspecified, so it could be a couple of days, but he cannot live somewhere. And what makes it even worse is that everything he leaves behind somehow dies or decays behind him. So he's leaves a trail of destruction and death behind him. And that is obviously not the best way to live. So he's looking for a solution for his problem through all these years, and he hears about like an ancient nameless order that might help him, that is in ancient lore commonly referred to as Orden Ogan, which basically translates to the Order of Fear. So Orden is the German word for a religious order, Ogan is Old Celtic for fear. And yeah, he meets this guy on the Ravenhead record that we put out in 2015 the first time, and has to do a lot of bad stuff in order to get information. And so in the end, the only information he gets is, you have to find the elders of our order, we cannot help you here, the curse is too strong. Very depressing and dark, like all of our stuff. And so he keeps searching through the Gunman record in 2017 and Final Days in 2021. And now he finally finds the eldest of the order, and they tell him the only way to break the curse is to do something that is even more evil than what was done to you. And you have to shed the blood of one true friend in the moonlight. And then you got the philosophical question about the good of many versus the good of one. And Vale, meanwhile, he's very pragmatic. It's like, okay, I've brought so much misery, death and pain to the world, so I have to do something about it. And there's only one guy who could be considered a friend. His name is Abel. He follows him since Eastern Hope. That was the record in 2010, because he knew that if he stays behind, he's got a problem. And so Vale decides and kills his friend in the moonlight. And but then shortly after, surprise, surprise, he finds out he got betrayed, and the monks of the Order of Fear, they're actually super evil, and he took part in an ancient ritual that now amplifies his curse because they want to use his curse against mankind. And also, by the way, side note, they resurrect like an ancient demon that is running around now. So by the end of the record, he's in a very, very bad spot. Yeah, we'll see how it will continue on the next record. But yeah, meanwhile, there's so much lore that we're actually thinking about putting it out in maybe comic form or a book or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I saw that your fan club's going to have a reading version of it or something, eh? Is that like a lyric thing or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the storyline of the Veil record in 2008 in the booklet, but then later on we thought, we don't have to put it in the booklet anymore. People who are interested, they will figure it out themselves with the lyrics. But that I overestimated the fans there, so or maybe it was just like my lyrics being too. You have to really dive in deep to understand what it's actually about. So, and people were like always asking us, like, can we find the story somewhere in written form or like the complete thing or whatever. So we're like, I do think that will be one of the next projects. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And how much of Alistair's story is mapped out? Like, do you sort of know-ish where you're headed with it?
Oh no! Like for the records that are upcoming, we have no clue. So we as we write the songs, we're working on the story as well.
Oh.
And I also have to say, like all of the records push the concept forward a little bit, but it's not all concept records. So there are always songs on the record that have nothing to do with the concept, because if you do full concept records, then you make all the songs be slave of the concept, and that is not a good thing, because you want to be you want to be able to write a song that just stands on its own. So that was the best solution for us. So it's always just a couple of songs.
Yeah, cool. So you composed 3 of these songs with a fan, right? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, Orden Ogan has got a lot of commercial success, especially in Europe these days. So it works really well for us, like after all these years that we were on the road. But I really like to point out that we mainly do this for ourselves. So we do this because this is the music we want to do, and we love making music. And so this also translates into making a record. If we feel it is not good enough, or if our ideas are not working out, then I mean, I would rather not release a record than release something where I'm not 100% sure of. And so when we started writing, it was all okay, but it was not that I was like, oh, this is killer, we have to work on this. But what was like all this, okay, we got a couple of ideas, but somehow we knew where we wanted to go, but it didn't really work out. And then there's this super fan from Uruguay. His name is Santi, and he caught our attention because he was basically putting out an Orden Ogan cover version like every 2 weeks. I'm not even kidding, like every 2 weeks there was another cover. I think he meanwhile must have covered like all of the songs we ever made. He's crazy. He's like Orden Ogan is his #1 most favorite band in the universe. And so in a really weird moment, some people say I must have been drunk, but I wasn't. I was like, maybe we should just ask this guy what he thinks about the stuff we're writing on, so if he can check it. And so I gave him a call, and that was also super funny because, I mean, we're all like very down-to-earth, normal people, and even the concept of being starstruck is alien to us. So, but for him, it must have been as if James Hetfield gave you a call, like it was super weird. And I asked him if he would mind like listening through the material that we're writing, and he was super happy about that. And then I asked him, because in some of the cover versions he even changed, like when he did like some creative changes, he even changed some parts for the better. So I was like, we should have done it like this way. And so I just asked him, would you be interested in like contributing like music to the record? And then he was like, oh man, this is so awesome. And It was great, you know. Like he the first idea he sent that went straight on the record, then he put out a lot actually. So we got really a lot of stuff from him. In the end, it was just like 6 or 7 parts or something that went on the record. But what it did for us, it was, as we say in Germany, it untied the knot for us, you know. So we knew, okay, we were driving the wrong lane all the time. We have to get to this side of the road, and let's go from there. And as soon as that started, like the whole record basically wrote itself. It went super quick, and it was great. And yeah, now he's actually considering moving to Germany from the other side of the globe, and work with me in the studio here. And so it's a real Hollywood story.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. The cover artwork by Dan Goldsworthy's got references to previous album covers and that sort of thing. Do you guys discuss those sort of specific details beforehand, or is Dan just kind of in charge of that one?
We've worked with Andreas Marshall for all the other albums from Veil to 2008. We now changed to Dan, and this was also the first time that we worked together. But he's an amazing guy. I mean, obviously amazing artist. Andreas Marshall is one of his biggest influences. You can see that in the painting style. It looks very similar. Though I really think that Dan really nailed it with this one. I really love the artwork. And what was great about him was that whereas Andreas, for example, is doing everything by hand on paper, Dan is working digitally, so you can have changes while we go, you know. And that was great because we were basically contributing to the creative process all the time. So there were like little changes here and there that you could do, and he would do that like straight away, super quick, very nice guy. And all these little Easter eggs that we put in, that was one of the last things that actually came, that we just added on later on. But we really thought that was like the icing on the cake, because the album even named after the band and the main antagonists, basically, or antagonists, it feels like some sort of a showdown, basically, and at least one of the many to come. And so it just felt right to reference all the other albums in the artwork. Yeah,
it's cool. I've got to ask, that cool jacket, your jacket with the shoulder bits and everything, that's got to be a one of a kind. What's the origin story of the jacket? How'd that come together originally?
It was actually made, tailor-made for me for the Final Days record, and I was there's this amazing artist here in Germany who is very, very good with doing these costumes, and I actually said to her, I need something that looks like a mixture between Hellraiser and the evil guy from Star Trek Nemesis. And she was just drawing this, and I was like, this is perfect. You know, it was intended to be like sci-fi look. But the storyline of Alistair Vale, it basically plays in a world that is long after like a super advanced high-tech civilization collapsed. It's like in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, so like post-apocalyptic, so much in the future. And this is actually great because this gives us the chance to go like through all these eras of you know, you can just go to like medieval eras, you can go into super high-tech sci-fi stuff, and it's still in the same universe. And so we thought, okay, since this is the thing, we can also keep the outfit from Final Days now and use it for the Order of Fear, or maybe later on as well, because so many people were complimenting on that and said like the jacket is great, and I'm just getting another one made for the next record that will look a little bit different from this one. But like I said, she's great. Her name is Transylvania.
Yeah, cool. The Anthem to the Dark Side is a song you originally wrote a long time ago, right?
Very long time ago, yes. I wrote that when I was 16 years old, I think. And it was even released on a CD sampler back in 1998 or something. And we actually count the history of Orden Ogan from 2008 when the Veil record was released, so the first professional record. But there have been years and years of like pupils hanging out in the rehearsal room and like playing music together and playing small pubs and everything. But this is not the same band, but still we always really liked that song, and we were always thinking like it would be great to finally hear this like in a modern studio version with like really good vocals and really good production and everything. And I mean, in the history of Orden Ogan, we always changed. I mean, musical wise, like from the harmonies, melodies, and the riffs and everything, it was always the same thing. But we always changed a little bit how the songs are arranged or written in terms of if you take Eastern Hope, for example, the record from 2010, that is super progressive. The title track is 6 minutes 30 and has got 40 different parts in it or something. Whereas if you take now The Order of Fear, this is all like very on the point, 3 minutes 30 songs that have no additional weight and just get to the point like straight away. And so they're always, I mean, like fans of both camps, of course. So we always try to have like at least one or two of these progressive and long tracks that we would have written in the future, in the past, or in this case actually wrote in the past, to have that on the record, like for those old fans as well. And so we thought, okay, this really makes sense, and I really love how it turned out. I mean, if you compare it to the 1998 version, it's night and day. Obviously, should be, you know, but it's.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah, 1998 version of you would think if you got to hear this brand new one.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, especially like from the production standpoint back then. If you remember how records used to sound back then, I think everyone would have been mind blown back then. Like, what the. You know, like, because like production techniques and mixing and mastering techniques like evolved so much in that time that, yeah, I mean, at least even the sound itself, it's so much better than it used to be in the past.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind asking about Angus McSix, if that's cool.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So see, you guys started 2022. What prompted Angus McSix to begin?
Sorry, can you ask the question again? I didn't get the question.
Yeah, no worries. So Angus McSix started 2022. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so what prompted you guys to start the new band?
No, I get the question. I mean, when Tom left Gloryhammer or was kicked out from Gloryhammer, I've seen the guys live a couple of times, and I always thought that he's an amazing entertainer and a really good singer. And so I was like, this would be a pity if he wouldn't do anything else. So it was actually me who got in touch with him, and I was like, would you do something new? And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And the name Angus McSix, that was actually like a joke in the beginning. You know, I was like, maybe we should somehow refer to the old character that he had in Gloryhammer, Angus McFive. And so from there we were laughing about, like, you know, like Spinal Tap, everything goes like this one goes to 11, and okay, Angus McFive, now Angus McSix, #1 better. And then you got it. And actually, I didn't want to do that later on anymore, but it somehow stuck with us. And so then we were like, okay, let's fuck it. We'll just do this. I will have to say though, like from our side, there was never any bad emotions like towards his former band or something. Like we just wanted to do our stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was fairly successful. I mean, it was the best-selling power metal debut record in Germany of all time. We hit number 10 in the charts straight away with that. Played a lot of really nice festival, Wacken open air and everything. And yeah, now at the moment it's basically in pause mode for a little bit because Tom just became a dad.
Right.
And but there will be a new song in the beginning of 2025, and very likely also the new record in 2025.
Yeah,
Though
nice.
I don't know when that will be released. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good news. Yeah. I watched that Wacken festival video. How hard is it to play guitar with a skull over your face?
It's actually the thing I was concerned the most about actually was the heat.
Yeah.
Especially if it's really, but it turned out that if you do it the right way, it's actually better than be without the mask, you know, because I will, like we played Masters of Rock in the Czech Republic, for example, and it was incredibly hot. As I think the singer of Alexandria, she collapsed on stage, or like basically backstage when she came from stage, had to be brought to the hospital because it was so hot. And I was really concerned, you know, because of the coat and the mask and everything. But I actually put it in the fridge and put some cubes of ice in it and everything, so I made it wet and really cold. And also, if you make your shirt wet under the coat, then it is like it keeps the cold. Actually, you have to be careful that you don't get a cold afterwards, you know, and like put on some dry clothes like directly after the show. So it actually works a lot better than you would think. So it was a lot more comfortable than I actually thought. Yes.
Yeah, cool. Master of the Universe is a great song, obviously, in the video and everything. I gotta ask, though, has Mattel ever contacted you or anything? Like,
no, not at all.
No, that's
and
good. That's good.
And I actually, I mean, it's also like a, how can I say? I mean, we all were like big fans of He-Man and Master of the Universe when we were young, and so it's more like a. I would think that they also would see it more like a shout out or a nod or like a homage, you know, like it's just a nice way to say we love you.
Yeah,
So,
that's very cool. Yeah, beautiful. What have you been listening to lately outside of your own stuff?
I mean, I'm working in the studio as a producer full time when I'm not busy with Orden Ogan, so I basically listen to music all day. And actually, if I get out of the studio, I actually enjoy the silence often a lot. So I'm not sitting down there as much as I used to with records of other bands. The last band that I discovered for myself that really blew my mind was Ghost. I think that this, what is it called, Meliora record, this is one of the best records I've ever heard. The other day I listened to the latest Judas Priest record. I really love that as well. But I'm, you know, I went to university and studied pop music. So I'm very, very open for a lot of different genres. Like one of my favorite music acts is Little Big from Russia. I don't know if you know them.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, you should check that out because I mean it's per definition a pop band, and they do everything. Like they mix all the genres, but the music videos are insane and very successful. Like in the hundreds of millions of views. I think it's the most successful music act from Russia of all time. Though they live in the States now, I think. But nevertheless, I really like that. But I listen to a lot and I can enjoy a lot apart from reggae and ska. I cannot stand that at all for some reason. And what else? Yeah, there used to be like some sort of wannabe intellectual pop music in Germany that was also, but you will never heard about these acts. But that was also like. That was terrible. But like I said, like reggae and ska is totally not my thing. I don't know why, but I really hate that. If they start, and yeah, I cannot listen to that.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you produce? Is it mostly kind of metal or rock based, or is it a range of things?
Oh, it's a range of things. I've worked with a cappella bands. I have got a local Irish folk band that I'm working with like for years. They're good friends. So I'm used to work with like bagpipes and flutes and everything, like all this stuff, of course. But it's mostly metal and also like very I mean I'm trying to focus on metal. The last records I've worked on was the latest Rhapsody of Fire record. I think it was like the third record that I mixed for Rhapsody of Fire. We were just done with guitars for Brainstorm, German heavy metal band. I'm a lot into death metal. So like my favorite bands are actually Benediction, Bowl Thrower, that kind of stuff. So it was really nice that I was able to mix the latest record of Asphyx. I don't know if you know them.
Sweet. Yeah, no, Asphyx.
Yeah, it's called Necrosaurus. It's an amazing album and like old school death metal. And it was really, really great to be able to work on that, and it was also very successful. Went on number 3 in the German charts, which is crazy for a death metal band. And so that was great as well. But I have to say that actually right now, at the moment, I'm trying to get a little bit like move away from working with too many bands. It's just, I mean, I've been the lucky thing for me was always that Orden Ogan for years now runs so well that I don't have to work with other bands in the studio like to have my income. It's more about the passion for making music and work with other people, and this is why I do the studio. So I was always able to do like the cherry picking, if you want. But nowadays it's like with Angus Mac6 and Orden Ogan, and there's also a death metal band that I wanted to release, like a record that I wrote and where we've been working on like since, I don't know, like for 10 years or so. And I always wanted to release that. It's not completely recorded yet, but I think that will be out next year as well. So I have Angus Mac6, Orden Ogan, and the name of this band will be The Fall of Mankind. So I'm so busy doing that stuff that I'm actually moving more and more away from working with other people, because like at some point you will just have to admit to yourself you cannot do this. You cannot do everything at once. I mean, my day also, like working day, is also just 10 or 12 hours. So it's even more than other people work, but still, it's at a certain point you will have to say I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. Huh? So you must have shows coming up with Orden Ogan, on the back of the album and everything. I'm guessing Alistair's going to make it back to the stage, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have been playing a lot already. We've been Sweden Rock, what is it called? Metal Fest in the Czech Republic, Z-Light in Spain, Into the Grave in the Netherlands. So a lot of really nice festivals already. We're looking forward to this weekend. We'll play Hellfest in France. That is one of the best festivals in the world. And there will be a couple of release shows. Also the Rock Hearts Festival in Germany, that's really nice. Summer Breeze is coming up in Germany, is also a really nice festival. And we have Alistair Vale as a regular guy walking on stage, and also we will have Alistair Vale as a 5-meter high inflatable on stage. That will be super nice as well. And we're building the stage as we go. It's like every show one element more at the moment, because we didn't finish everything before the festival season. But it's also nice because it doesn't look the same all the time for people who've seen us already.
That's cool. And I know it's a long way, but I've got to ask, because the people in the comments will kill me if I don't. Any chance we'll see Angus Mac6 or Orden Ogan our way anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. Right at the moment, there's nothing planned, but we're really open for suggestions. So if anybody's listening, like a promoter or whatever, or if you know somebody, or if somebody who is listening knows somebody, whatever, we're always open. This was not something that we've actively worked on. There have been some offers, but in our case it has to make sense. Like going over there is super expensive, and so it has to be something that, like I said, really has to make sense. There might be another opportunity coming up next year or the year after, in a different scenario, but could be that we will just make the package Orden Ogan Angus Mac6 and come over, for example. But like I said, it's nothing planned at the moment. That is plans for 2025, not this year.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. Awesome. Look, thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to what looks like a lovely day there, man. And cheers.
Yeah,
man.
very nice. Very nice.
Beautiful. All right, enjoy it, man. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Cheers all the musos that joined us on today's show, and thanks for watching, everyone. If you want more of this kind of thing, subscribe away, because there's heaps more interviews coming up and lots more metal. From Wrestle On Records, we've got a new split with Celestial Shadows and Spanish band Permanent Disbelief. Links to that below. Plenty more excellent stuff coming up. I'll see you very soon.